What up, though? Switch on 202. All right. So we're going to get into this. Because I figure some of you, y'all just need to know this. It's kind of like a PSA. All right, so before you buy a used fridge, some of you are going to go out and buy a refrigerator, right? And when you do, buy yourself a new and or used refrigerator, it's going to be because you either don't like the old one or the old one is broken in some kind of way. So when you have a broken refrigerator, let's just say that the refrigerator, you have a double wide refrigerator, and what's happening is you're getting frost in the back. For one, any double wide refrigerator that's newer, especially 2010 and up, is a no frost refrigerator, meaning it's not supposed to have frost in it. Okay, as a matter of fact, even older than that, there's no frost came out a long time ago because they have heating elements in them. Okay, so you should have a no frost refrigerator. So if you have frost in your refrigerator, there is a problem somewhere. And it's usually a thermostat, a thermistor, and or the heating element, and sometimes the motherboard itself. But usually thermostats, thermistors, heating element. So if it's a heating element problem, well, if any of those problems besides the motherboard, you have to unplug the refrigerator, look in the freezer side of the double wide, take out all the shelves, and take off the screws to the back panel. Take out the back panel. You'll probably see a fan back there, and you'll see some wires. And this way you'll see your thermostat. You'll see one thermistor. Another thermistor might be at the bottom. But if you look and you see your coils, and your coils are all frosted up, this is one of the reasons why you're not getting enough, why your ice maker has water coming out of it instead of ice. Why your popsicles are not freezing, especially if it's towards the top of the freezer. The bottom, everything will be cold and frozen, but the top will not. And eventually, it'll just work its way down. Well, none of that stuff will be cold at all. It'll all start thawing out. That's because of the ice buildup that's on the back coils. And if you look down, there could be, sometimes there isn't, but there could be a heating element. It's a metal plated part that if you take a blow dryer, like I said, unplug the refrigerator, take a blow dryer and thaw that ice out, you're going to see your heating element. That heating element has a cycle to it where the computer tells it to heat up at a certain time to melt all that ice, and then all that water runs out the back of the fridge and evaporates, so on and so forth. If your fridge is not doing this, sometimes a heating element is messed up. They're usually about $70. They're not hard to fix, just kind of hard to get into. They're connected by two wires, so you have to connect the red and the pink wire, or the red and the blue wire, and a couple screws, only two screws hold it in. Unplug it, you look at it, and it's going to be a plastic tube it's going to be about this long. It's going to be a plastic tube, and inside that plastic tube is going to be a coil, just a regular metal coil. And if that plastic tube is burnt and that coil is disconnected, then you know that that's the problem. However, it could be more than that. It's why did this heating element go out? Now there's the question. Okay, so about a year or so ago, I sold a double wide refrigerator. I knew it worked just fine to a woman. I took it to her house. She paid $500 for it. That's how much I used to charge. She put it into her house. They plugged it into their kitchen. Everything was fine. About a week later, she called me and said, "Hey, this refrigerator is not freezing all my stuff. The stuff at the bottom is frozen. stuff the top is not. What's the problem? I came over, looked at it, did the due diligence, said your heating element. Went, got her another heating element, put it in there, boom. Said everything should be fine. She's about a few days later, she came back, said the same thing is happening. The heating element we bought her was actually 2 coils. So it didn't just have one, it had 2. And that wasn't working anymore either. Then I started asking questions. I'm like, well, did anybody, mess with your electricity or anything? She said, yeah. She had a brother, who helped build on the extra wing of the house, yada, yada, yada. He did this and that and the third. I said, well, that's the problem. You're not putting out enough wattage. And that was her problem. About 6 months later, had another family. Pretty much the same thing happened. Turned out that the watts coming out of their wall was only at 110, 109. I had tested it. I said this has to have 120 coming out of it. The exact same thing happened. It wasn't freezing. I was like, look, you have to have 120 coming out of it. Refrigerator, no good. I ended up taking that refrigerator and fixing it and then reselling it. However, they got another refrigerator, plugged it into a different socket that had 120, 122 coming out of it. Haven't heard from them since. And then recently, a couple of days ago, same thing just happened. Lady bought a fridge for me. Exact same scenario. And I told her, I said, listen, your sockets are probably bad. The refrigerators that you got rid of probably wasn't bad. I said, what happened to it? She said the ice maker stopped working, and then the freezer wasn't freezing everything. And then, the one I had just put in her house 2 days ago, the same thing was happening. The ice maker wasn't freezing everything, and then the freezer wasn't freezing everything. Exact same scenario. I said, okay, I need to test your sockets. I tested her sockets. Her sockets were between 115 and 117. Once again, the refrigerator was not getting enough power. If you don't have it hooked up to 120, that refrigerator is not going to be able to run all of its cycles. She said, sometimes it beeps at me. I said, refrigerators beep now, especially if the door is open. But hers was beeping at her when the door wasn't open. So this was it was telling you that something was wrong. And sure enough, once I tested all of her sockets, all of her sockets in the kitchen were bad. She said, yeah, you know what? My brother went and fixed on, and added a socket to the outside and started the third. And she said, all these sockets here are 115. I said, they have to be 120. I said, ma'am, there's nothing wrong with the refrigerator. There's something wrong with your sockets. And I said, the bad part about it is the fridge you just got rid of. I said, it was probably a good fridge. She was like, oh, no. I was like, yeah, well, because I give people a warranty. That's why I show up. I'll give you a warranty. And she's well inside the warranty. So I was going to either replace it or, go ahead and, give her money back. But my warranty is only if something goes wrong with the fridge that I sold you, not if something's wrong with your house. So, and then I told her, I said, listen, I wouldn't even plug this up to anything in your kitchen. I said, run an extension cord into your living room, test the walls first. I said, if these, sockets are putting out 120, plug your refrigerator into there. It'll work fine. But I said, if they're not, you're looking at a chance of blowing even the motherboard. That's what was beeping at her. The motherboard was telling her, listen, there's something wrong here. So she might have bought a fridge that she just can't use, because if her whole house has been rewired and it's only putting out 115, well, you just paid $500 for a fridge that you can't use. And you're going to have to run it off of a generator. And that really sucks, because that's another, $400 or $500 you're going to have to buy, put it in the garage and run the extension cord from there. Plus you have to gas it up all the time. And you're looking at a generator you can get something that'll run 24 hours, but that's just a whole nother pain until the electrician comes over and fixes your walls and does it the right way. So basically, and she was even telling me that some of her other appliances she can't run in the kitchen because of circuit breaks. And I was like, yeah, man, your whole kitchen needs to be rewired. It needs to be done the right way. Your uncle, who is not a certified, tech electrician, is not going to do this the proper way. And things could go really bad from there if you don't spend the money on a new electrician. It can get real bad from there. So I'm actually hoping I'm saving some of these people from having some type of electrical, fire. And because in each of these cases, in all three of these cases, somebody built something into their house who was not a certified electrician. They built on an extra wing of the house. They did something where they DIY'd it and they thought they could, get by. And it's just not putting out enough power. Now you got to go and look at your circuit breaker. If your circuit breaker is popping, that's another fair warning that something in this house isn't, it's just not right. I had even taken so I took a refrigerator to a really nice house. Really, this house had to be $400,000-$500,000 house, easy. Plus the area that they were living in, beautiful. These people had money. They wanted an extra fridge in the garage. I took them 4 refrigerators, and 3 of them were of the same kind, same model, and everything. And each one of them kept popping the breaker. So I would go and get it and replace it, go and get it, replace it. Then I said, you know what? I'm going to give you an older refrigerator. And I said, I don't think it's going to pop your breaker. I gave him that older one. I haven't heard from him since. Because newer refrigerators are very sensitive because of their computers. And this was a single door top freezer. But nonetheless, it still has a computer system in it that's a lot different than the older fridges. And what it was doing, when it would kick in, that the frost system would kick in, it was popping that breaker because it needed more power. So before you buy a fridge, please test your breakers. Please test your sockets to make sure they're putting out in between 120 and 122. Because if they are not, then your refrigerator is not going to work. You're eventually going to break it. And you could have a huge electric problem that's in your house. If somebody in your family did anything with your electricity, be very, very careful of this, because this could be harmful to your whole house and everyone in it. Wait till to stay safe.